So this morning's musings. English, the English language, English, Canadian, American, everything that's derived from the English language is a spelling language. This is what a friend shared with me. And the more I thought about it, the more I thought, you know what, Josie, you're so true. Because the words, they don't just spell, it's not like magic, it's universal laws, and the amount of words we have and the way we say them, it brings it all back to what we're attracting. So when we state something and name it, it becomes so. It does that in any language. That's a universal law. So it's the universal law of psychic cause and effect, which is pretty much explains pretty much everything, really. So what happens is, if you name something as good, your subconscious registers it, or has registered it as good, and it's kind of classed as a good memory. When you name something as bad, you remember it as bad, your brain registers it as a bad memory. Now, when we call things good and we call things bad, we're creating separateness. And we're generalised in our lives by naming all similar experiences, good or bad, based on the previous stuff. So as we're saying something, and we're saying, oh, it's awful weather, what we're doing is we're naming it as awful weather, and we're believing it to be awful weather, when actually it might be glorious weather, if you looked at it from a different perspective. So on a sunny day, sun's shining and it's all very light and bright and colourful and warm, and you'd say, oh, isn't this beautiful? You know, maybe you've not got all your clothes on that you'd have in winter. Maybe you've not got so many layers. Maybe you're just going to be outside a lot and that weather is just a pleasure. Maybe you've got arthritis and that warm weather is just, it takes off so much pressure because it helps you relax, and you don't feel so restricted or in pain when the weather's as it is. Now, when the weather gets a bit hotter, you're saying it's awful weather because you're too hot, you can't do things, you feel like if you do anything you'll melt, you feel like you're possible of melting, which of course isn't really so, unless in very extreme circumstances, and that would have to be some kind of weird freaky accident. So realistically, even sunny weather can be uncomfortable and unwanted or unwelcome. And it's like that with our language. So we can name something as awful when really we're basing it on previous memories of our experiences, what people have said, what we've seen other people experience, what other people have told us, what books have told us, what films have told us, and we're basing our perception, what we think to be true, on the information that we've gathered. So when we name something as shit, say, then we're generalising and we're naming that as, naming whatever it is as that, which is creating a lean towards anything else that happens in that similar circumstance. Because every moment, even if we're on like this same walk that I do every day, it's always different. There's always different possibilities and opportunities open to us on this same walk, same pathway that we do at least 4 times a day, you know. So it's possible that in a circumstance that you're naming one as one thing, you're actually, by naming it as such, you're casting a spell, really. And what that spell is doing is you're restricting your growth and you're narrowing your perspective. And instead of it being single focused, it's not even focused because it's then gone into your subconscious as such, which means you're not aware of it. So all your actions and things in the future, when you're not aware, will be based on that one judgment, or that couple of 2 or 3 judgments, or that statement that you decided to say on that day. So when we name something, when we're using our language, when we're choosing to say something and put our energy into something, because that's what we do when we speak. I'm putting my energy into this, I'm sharing it with you, and I'm doing it for the highest good. So my intentions are possibly some from ego, because I'd like people to come to this way of understanding, although I have no right to judge or preach, but I found it useful for me, and therefore other people might find it useful for them. But I'm trying to also share a conscious ripple. You know, it's a conscious stone. I'm chucking it out there. I've not made you watch this video. Something made you watch this video, and it wasn't me. Maybe you feel drawn to me or drawn to watch the video. Maybe you just landed on here at some point. Who knows? That's your thoughts and actions have drawn you to watch this today and get to this point, which is cool. And thank you for that. I'm glad the universe brought you here. My conscious intention is to help you create a healthier environment and live more consciously, so that you can live wisely and die wisely. The more aware we are of what we're putting out in the world and how we're doing it, the more conscious we're able to live, the higher our level of awareness, and the more resilient we'll be, the more understanding we're able to become, and the more that we're able to live from a place where it's our prefrontal cortex that's running the show, not our survival brain, which is our limbic brain here at the back. So yes, I invite you to think of what you're spelling today, what you're naming today, what you're calling something today, and see if that sits right with you in your belly. You know, obviously when I say something, it's up to you what you do with it, but feel into it first. Is this right? Is it right? Is this ego? Is this a higher level of awareness? Is this some form of guidance that's leading you to where you want to go? If not, shelf it, stack it, ignore it, drop it. If so, follow. You know, If so, follow that feeling of feeling comfortable, and may it bring you as much pleasure, joy, happiness and peace, inner peace, as I've attained.